Hello, parents. My name is Kim Stoppel, and I am the literacy coach and MTSS coordinator for Simpson and Bickerdike Elementary Schools. I wanted to take this opportunity to do two things. First of all, to congratulate you and thank you for a job well done so far. I know that your journey as an educator has probably been a sticky one and with lots of peaks and valleys, but I hope that you're finding some reward in what you're doing for your child, because we as educators so appreciate what you're doing to carry the torch while we cannot. Um, I have also served as a private tutor for several years for children in reading, and among some of the most popular asked questions are, how do I choose reading material for my child that I know that they are capable of reading and they are comfortable, an appropriate reading level? And also, what can I do if my child is not able to handle the text that's being required of them to read? So I took a few minutes to jot down some notes and think about all the strategies that I use as an educator or have used throughout the years to help children with those particular issues. First of all, when you're trying to choose a level of reading material for your child, and we hope that you're not just sticking with the textbook articles or anthology stories that you've been assigned for your child from teachers, but also taking time to let them read some fun literature, books you may have around the house or that neighbors may have that you can borrow, so that they can continue to read for enjoyment as well on topics that they are interested in. Um, but take that reading material, if your child has chosen a particular book, and have them read at least 2 or 3 pages, depending on how much text is on the page, and then close the book, take it away from them, and ask them 4 questions. Just questions about who the characters were, what they were doing, maybe some questions that require some insight and application as far as what would your child do in that situation kind of thing. After you've asked those 4 questions, if they have answered 3 out of the 4 correctly, and while they were reading, if you have taken note of how smoothly and comfortable they are reading that text, they probably have a book that is about at their comfort and independent level. If they've answered 3 of the 4 questions, and if they are reading as if they are speaking pretty much, maybe not quite as smoothly, but almost, or using some expression as they're reading. If not, if they really struggle to answer your questions and they have made several errors in reading the words on those pages, you might consider that reading material to be above your child's level at this point. So see if you can persuade them to put that particular book down and find one that would be a little more comfortable for them. It's also very beneficial for children through the 5th and 6th grade to hear good reading models. So don't feel like your child is too old for a read aloud or a bedtime story. You can model appropriate phrasing and expression, teaching them how to recognize punctuation, and just letting them hear that good reading role model. This is also possible on the digital book websites, and one of the best is a free website right now called EPIC, E-P-I-C. So if you have not checked into that, please do so. The child can choose to read the book on their own. The words are even highlighted. The text is highlighted as they read. But also the child can choose to have that book read to them on that website. So again, that's another opportunity for them to have good reading role models. There's sometimes times when children don't want to read a whole passage by themselves. They wear out quickly, or maybe reading is a little fatiguing to them because of eyesight or just because of their struggles with decoding words. There's nothing wrong with you having your child read a page and then you read a page. Offer to read every other page. It's an excellent way to combine the two, a read aloud and a listen to. Also, you can let your child read, and when they want to switch, we call this the knocking game, at least I do, but have them make some kind of sound. It can be with rhythm sticks or a bell, or it can just be as simple as knocking on a surface. When they're tired of reading, they knock. You take over, hopefully flawlessly and without too much of a gap. You read. When you feel like you would like your child to take over again, you knock and they take over again. For some reason, it's the simplest game, but the kids really beg to do it. They really enjoy it. So that's another opportunity for you to read without them getting too fatigued and tired of it. On the page of my notes here real quick. Oh, another fun activity you can do, especially with text that has speaking parts, characters that are talking to one another, is making it into a reader's theater or a play, you might call it. So you choose a character you would like to be, or maybe if there's just the two of you, you might choose multiple characters. Your child chooses multiple characters, and you go through and read the text using those characters. Kids really get into expression when they're speaking as a book character might speak. It also is a good indicator of their comprehension because they're able to speak like the character would want to respond in whatever situation they find themselves in. So if the character's frustrated, insist that your child, if they're reading that part, they sound frustrated, or if that character is being silly or excited or very, very sad, have them change their tone, their intonation to match what the character is going through. And it's a great, again, fluency, expression, and comprehension activity. Junie B. Jones in particular, I know there are many second graders and maybe even third graders that are really addicted to Junie B. It's a wonderful way to read those books and have fun. If the text that your child has been assigned seems to be too difficult for them, there are some strategies that you can use to help them through it. One of those being echo reading. And it may sound again like you are spoon feeding your child, but in actuality, you are not. You are reinforcing their skills. You are providing that role modeling on how to read text correctly, and then you're making them practice it. By echo reading, I mean, for younger students, for kindergarten first, I would suggest that you just read a couple lines, couple sentences, and then they read it back, the exact same couple sentences. For older students, you can read a paragraph to an entire page if it's not very long, and then again, have that child follow along as you are reading, and then they go back and read the exact same text. Before you turn it over to your child to repeat the text, you might say, were there any words that you heard me read that you're not familiar with or that you think you might struggle with? If so, go back and help that child sound out those words, count how many syllables are in the word, notice any phonics patterns like digraphs, TH, SH, CH, or vowels that they may need to recognize to use that word. Also, read the sentence and leave out the word and have them fill in that word if they're still struggling with it. But echo reading, again, it's not, don't consider it to be a cop-out for the kids. It's definitely a wonderful way to encourage struggling readers and to build their self-confidence. On vocabulary, do make sure if you're able to and can spend the time to glance through your child's reading material, make sure you go through, especially those stories that have been assigned to them by their teacher. Look through and see if there's any vocabulary that they might struggle with. Use it in a sentence, talk about how they might use it in a sentence. You can spell it out loud, again, count the syllables. Just find a way to give them ownership of that word so that when they come upon it in the text, it isn't a stumbling block for them. And this is building prior knowledge before you even start to read the text. Most importantly, help your child if they're doing recreational reading or you've given them a choice of reading materials. Let them talk about what they're interested in. You and I both know as adults that we like to pick up reading material that we're very interested in. I happen to be addicted to recipes, but any kind of reading that you're interested in is much more fun, and therefore you're going to try harder to make it more fluent and more interesting and comprehend it better. Lastly, one more exercise that you can do with your kids to build the fluency and build the confidence on a passage. Don't make it a drive-by. Don't let them just read the reading material one time, one and done. If children read a text repeatedly, it has been proven over and over again in research that they will become a more fluent reader. One of the strategies we use in our title classrooms where we have interventions for struggling readers is the reread, and we call it a 1-minute timing. Now, in the past, people have questioned whether timing a child, putting them under the gun, you might say, for reading for a minute may not be fair, or it may put undue pressure on them. But what you will find, if you make it fun, again, and you make it a competition strictly with themselves and no one else, not a competition with a brother, a sister, a neighbor, a friend, a cousin, anyone, just themselves, we're all creatures of competition, and they will get into it. So you choose a page from a passage that's either been assigned to them, or again, one that they've chosen for recreational reading, and you let them read for 1 minute. It's as simple as that. You mark where they've stopped, or they mark where they've stopped. You count the words that they read. While they're reading, you also make tally marks for every mistake or error that they have made. In their phonics or just mispronouncing a word, mark that down and count those tally marks. So they're recording not just how many words they got in a minute, but also their errors. If you can remember what those words were that they stumbled on, go back after the timing and talk about them. Teach them out of context, put them on a little flashcard, make a list of them. Have your child practice those every day. And again, do the 1-minute timing on the exact same page every day, at least 3 or 4 times in the week. Make a little chart, have them record how many errors they made, how many words they got correct, and you will see them blossom and become so excited when they pass that original mark where they ended the first time they tried the 1-minute timing. So we call this warm reads and cold reads. Cold reads are the first time, and then the warm read is after they've read it once before. I hope that you can find some of these strategies useful and beneficial for your child. And again, it's very important to remember to not push them to the point of frustration, but make reading enjoyable. If the text your child chooses seems too simple for their grade level, as long as they're reading, let them read. Have a good day. And if you have any questions, be sure to reach out to me at kstoppel, usd407.org. Thank you, and have fun reading.